Hi guys, welcome to Sustainable Success. So in this video series, we'll be talking about some essential skills that will help you make the most out of your high school experience. Some topics that we're going to go over include how to time manage, how to establish yourself as a responsible and trustworthy person, and how to form meaningful and productive relationships. So without further ado, we'll get into our first video, which is all about commitment and time management. So a big part of your high school life will be dedicated to the extracurricular activities that you commit yourself to. So this can be anything from a sports team, a service project, or a part-time job.
It's completely normal if you feel like you don't have a really strong passion or interest in anything yet, because that's what freshman year in high school is for. So when I was in freshman year, I think I signed up for like 10 clubs. But many of the clubs at our school are really low commitment. So if you go to a meeting and you feel like, oh, this isn't what I was expecting, you can always just tell the president, oh, I'm probably not gonna come back. Once you go into sophomore and junior year, it's good to start thinking about cutting down on those clubs and finding a more specialized interest to pursue later on in your high school career.
Some of the clubs might seem kind of intimidating to join because they're often led or dominated by upperclassmen. Now that I'm an upperclassman, I feel like from my perspective, I'm always really happy to see younger members that are equally passionate about an activity as I am, and I'm sure that most upperclassmen think the same. Freshman year, the varsity tennis tryout was on the very first day of high school, and I went there as a new student, and I remember when I saw the upperclassmen warming up on the courts, I was so intimidated that I almost just walked away. Thankfully, I persuaded myself to stay, and I ended up making the team and forming really meaningful relationships with the other people on the team. And the super intimidating tennis captain, she actually turned out to be super sweet and supportive. And she not only helped me improve in tennis, but she also became my mentor throughout high school. I just went to her whenever I had any questions about high school. And till this day, we're still really close friends. Time management becomes really important in high school because you're expected to be responsible for your own commitments. It's highly likely that your teachers or your club leaders won't be chasing you down before your due dates. So it's really important for you to remember what your responsibilities are. Even though not that many people will be reminding you of your responsibilities, these things will be reflected in your grades and just people's impressions of you. This might sound a little scary, but we can assure you that with the right mindset and the right time management skills, this won't be a problem for you at all.
I'm gonna admit that I was really bad at managing my time freshman year. I actually don't think it was until junior year that I really got my stuff together and knew how to use the right time management tools to organize the different parts of my life. What really helped me was actually finding friends that had similar priorities and goals in school as me. So that meant when I was with them, they understood if I wasn't able to hang out because I had to study for something. So they were really supportive of me, and that helped a lot with my time management because I never felt guilty for not hanging out, and I was able to balance my social life and my academic life because of that.
When I think about how I allocate my time for different tasks in high school, I always divide my tasks into 3 different categories. So the first one is like all my school and academic work, and then the second one is my extracurricular work, and the last one is just any personal activities like hanging out with my friends or going out to the movies. During the school year, I definitely prioritize my schoolwork above other things, so I make sure that I'm doing all of my homework and preparing for all the tests and exams that are coming up. And I usually try to have around 1 hour every afternoon to work on my extracurricular work. And I would only do other personal activities if I knew all of my other school responsibilities are taken care of beforehand. But in the last few weeks of summer, my priorities kind of changed, and I've been spending equal amounts of time for like all 3 aspects of my life. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is that it's important to have priorities, to know what you need to do first and what you think is important to you, but those priorities can change depending on different situations and depending on your interests and your values. So for example, if you're a musician, then it's totally okay to commit more time to extracurricular activities that are music related, whereas if you want to be a researcher, you might not want to be in those music related activities but focus more on a personal research project. So it's all up to you, but just know that try to align your priorities with your own values and goals, and try to spend your time on what you deem is important.
So now we're moving on to how you can actually manage your time. So for me, I used the physical planner that our school gave out, and in the planner I would write down when everything was due, and after going back home every day after school, I would write down exactly what I was going to accomplish that afternoon. And every single week on Sunday, I would write what I wanted to get done that week specifically. So that really helped me keep track of everything, and I would write down all the due dates right as they were given. Because sometimes if you're like, oh, I can remember it and I'll write it down later, you usually forget. And sometimes if it's not on Canvas or if your teacher isn't holding your hand and telling you when everything is due, a lot of assignments can be lost that way. If you prefer online tracking, I really recommend Google Calendar or Notion. Those are two platforms that I use personally. In the picture that I will put here, this is what my Google Calendar looked like. I had my classes in red, my meetings were in blue, and all my deadlines were in green. And what isn't pictured is I would also have my personal appointments, like doctor appointments, and also when I was hanging out with my friends in there too, just so I could kind of see how much time each week I was spending on each part of my life. So for example, if one week I had many tests, maybe the following weekend or the weekend after that, I would take some time to hang out with some friends or take some time for myself.
Okay, so to sum it up, we think that the 3 things that you need to keep track of are your daily to-dos or your daily tasks, any meetings, rehearsals, or any events that you need to go to, and just like any long-term projects that might have due dates that are further away. And having these 3 things down can make sure that you're not forgetting to do anything and that you're not procrastinating those big projects. So this brings us to the end of this video. We really hope that you found this helpful and applicable to your high school life. And if you like this, please also go check out our other 2 videos, which are about how to build healthy and productive relationships and also how to establish yourself as someone trustworthy and responsible. Thank you.